The Golden Duck Dinner. The Malaysian chef Dia Lubis was looking at her latest creation, bebek emas, also known as golden duck. It was a challenging dish to cook since it was so expensive, and the ingredients were so hard to come by. Besides, only the best was good enough to serve the prince and princess of Ramahandran royal family. The gold plating of the duck was cheap and plentiful. But where would she find a living duck while on the space colony of the Europa Kingdom on a moon orbiting Jupiter? Dia sighed. While she could ask the portal master to transport her back to Earth, he wouldn't agree to open a wormhole so she could impress the royal family with her culinary expertise. But what if she could poison the commander of the base so they had to open a portal to get the antidote? Admiral Nick Teogu's life would be important enough to open the wormhole. Once the portal was open, she could sneak through and find a suitable duck before they closed the gateway again. Dia glanced at an apple. If she left it outside the radiation shield, Jupiter would irradiate it with carbon-14 due to the Europa Kingdom's proximity to the planet. Once she had the radioactive apple, she could give it to Nick and poison him, causing the need to get the antidotes from Earth. That would be her chance to go to Earth and fetch the duck that would make her the galaxy's most famous chef. Dia decided to go for it. No one had ever cooked a golden duck dinner at the Europa Kingdom before, and it was worth all the risk. She put on a spacesuit, walked outside, and put the apple in a part of the base that was not protected from Jupiter's radiation. As the apple got irradiated with carbon-14, it turned bright red. This made the apple look very appealing. Yet, Dia knew the dark secret that the apple was lethal to ingest. She picked up the apple and walked inside the space station for the next step of her plan. Dia was worried as she carried the apple on a tray to Admiral Nick Teogu's office. She didn't like the prospect of carrying a radioactive apple without wearing personal protective equipment. Yet, entering the Admiral's office wearing a hazmat suit would raise questions, and the Admiral would not eat the apple in that scenario. Dia reminded herself that the carbon-14-induced apple was a beta emitter, not radioactive enough to harm her unless she ate it. She approached the Admiral and spoke. "Admiral Nick Teogu, I brought you a special apple. It's a dish from my hometown."
That's interesting. How come it is so bright and red? I have never seen an apple shimmer like this before. It looks delicious,
Nick replied. "It's my secret recipe. Please have a bite. I want to know if it is good enough for the royal family. Apart from our Ramahandran royal family, you come from the noblest family in Malaysia," Dia flattered Nick. Nick smiled, took a bite of the apple, and replied,
"Thank you very much, Miss Lubis. This apple is indeed delicious. I am certain the royal family will appreciate its aroma."
"Thank you, Admiral. I need to get back to the kitchen now. I'm happy that you enjoyed my apple," Dia replied and left the office. Dia smiled as she left Nick's quarters. Her plan was coming to fruition. In a few hours, the soldiers would need to open the wormhole to Earth to fetch the antidote for the Admiral's sudden illness. Beep, beep, beep. Dia woke up as she heard the alarm going off to warn about the imminent opening of a portal. She stared at her pots and kitchen utensils in disbelief. How had she zoned out while she was cooking lunch for the employees of the space station? Her colleague Aisha ran up to her and exclaimed, "Dia, they're opening the portal! This was not planned. Something bad must have happened. We need to evacuate." Dia nodded and replied, "You go first. I need to secure the kitchen before I leave." Aisha gave her a strange look as Dia walked towards the portal room, but she didn't dare to intervene. Instead, Aisha ran back to the bomb shelters and left Dia to walk as she pleased. As Dia reached the portal room, she hid behind a crate as some special operations soldiers in protective outfits rushed into the portal. Dia had a bout of hesitation. She had never traveled via a portal before. The only space travel she had ever done was when she started her employment on this space colony. At that time, she had traveled via a space shuttle, which was the safe and slow way to reach one's destination. Dia shrugged off her hesitation. She had rolled the dice of destiny, and the only way for her to avoid getting caught for poisoning Admiral Nick Tilgu and avoid execution was to receive a royal pardon. The only way to get said pardon was to make the best golden duck dish ever. As Dia was ready to jump into the portal, she saw a peculiar pistol with a sign saying DKP-19 pistol. This is a prototype weapon, handle with care. She picked up the pistol and jumped into the powered-up portal. The portal's white light blinded her, and she floated weightlessly in space until she crashed onto the ground and passed out. As Dia opened her eyes, she saw something very peculiar. Butterflies with written texts on their wings. One of them landed on her finger and she read the text. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Dia didn't have the time to reflect on the text on the phone butterfly. An anthropomorphic duck wearing a wig approached her and quacked.
Hello, human. You are not meant to be. Why did you come to our planet?
Dia reflected over her answer. She had intended to travel to Earth and find a large duck so she could serve it as a dinner to the royal family. She had never intended to land in a surreal fantasy world. She felt certain about one thing, though. Revealing her real purpose would not be popular with the human-sized talking duck. I intended to go back to Earth and visit my sick mother, but the portal took me to the wrong place, Dia said.
That goddamn fairy! Why does she keep making my life miserable?
The duck exclaimed. Fairy? Dia asked.
Yes, the fairy that sent you. Are you an illegal immigrant?
Dia didn't answer the duck's question, as she wasn't sure which option was preferable. The duck didn't reflect over Dia's silence and spoke again.
I am Trumpy the Grumpy Duck, and I am the president of the realm of Cerelia. I am the greatest duck Cerelia has ever seen, and my wall, which is so very great by the way, keeps all the undesirables out. If you follow me, I'll show you.
Dia nodded but didn't say anything. Trumpy the Grumpy Duck was not deterred by this, so he invited her to his golf buggy to show her his domains. After yapping about his greatness for 20 minutes, Trumpy the Grumpy Duck and Dia reached Trumpy's Great Wall, which had evidently collapsed. Trumpy got very angry and had a long rant.
This is it! I need to punish Morgor the Red Dragon for what he did! The Great Wall, built by my fine slaves, has yet again been destroyed by his foul breath.
Are you sure you want to fight a dragon? Dia asked.
I am Trumpy the Grumpy Duck, the great billionaire and the master of the deal. I'll make him an offer he can't reject.
Trumpy bragged. Dia thought about objecting, but then she had an eureka moment, thinking how Trumpy would be the greatest golden duck dish she had ever served to her royal family in Europa Kingdom. All she needed to do was encouraging the narcissistic duck to confront the dragon while she hid away. Great idea, Trumpy. Confronting Morgor is the greatest bravery I have ever witnessed in a duck. You can save us all, Dia enthused. Trumpy the Grumpy Duck approached Morgor, the red dragon, and yapped about his prowess and greatness. As expected, this approach was unwise, and moments later, Morgor's breath had grilled Trumpy to perfect crispiness. So delicious! Dia's satisfaction was short-lived as Morgor spoke.
I am Morgor, the Red Dragon. Why have you entered my domains, you puny human?
I brought you this silly duck so you could grill him for me. How about we share his meat? Dia replied.
How about that I grill you as well, and then eat you both?
Morgor mocked. No, stay back. I'm armed and dangerous, Dia said and pulled out her pistol. Seeing Dia's tiny pistol, Morgor burst out into a roaring laughter.
Are you threatening me, a 30-meter tall dragon, with that puny, sad little pistol?
Dia felt silly when she heard Morgor's taunt, but it was too late to back down. Here goes nothing, she thought, and pulled the trigger on the pistol. Kaboom! The recoil from the tiny pistol sent Dia flying backwards and dislocated her shoulder. She felt dizzy and was unable to move. Would this be the end of her? She closed her eyes and she pictured the terrible pain from being burnt alive from Morgor's searing flames. This didn't come to pass. Instead, she felt a tingling sensation and she heard the soft voice of a fairy. Wake up, Dia. You have saved Cerealia, our realm of divinity in the world of fantasy. Dia opened her eyes and saw an old, portly and motherly fairy. Had she died and come to heaven? What happened? She mumbled to herself. You have saved Cerealia. You killed Morgor with your boomstick. But before he died, he killed Trumpy the Grumpy Duck. This will be the golden age for our realm. No more walls and no more murderous dragons. The mother fairy spoke. That's great, Dia mumbled. It is. I am Finkerbell, the great mother fairy. What's your name, human? Finkerbell asked. I'm Dia Lubis, the Malaysian chef from Europa Kingdom on Jupiter's moon, Dia replied. Great. I will heal your wound. Is there anything else I can help you with? Finkerbell asked. I need to go back home, and I would love to serve Trumpy the Grumpy Duck as a royal dinner for my Prince Firabus and Princess Irulan Ramahandra. Only the best is good enough for His and Her Royal Highness, Dia replied. Your wish is my command, Finkerbell said and cast a spell that transported Dia through time and space back to her humble and sweet, freshly baked cinnamon roll-smelling kitchen.
Hurry up, Dia. Prince and Princess Ramahandran are waiting for the feast. Serve them the roast golden duck.
A man said. Dia opened her eyes and she realized that she was back in her sweet little kitchen. In front of her was a platter with a huge and delicious-looking gold-covered roast duck with yummy peaches and walnuts. How had this happened in a blink of an eye? Oh, the duck is ready, Dia said, pretending not to be surprised.
So, what are you waiting for? Take the golden duck to the royal dining room and serve it to our royal highnesses,
the man urged. Dia nodded and she carried the heavy tray to the dining room. She placed the platter on the majestic table in front of the dining hall and was about to walk off when the princess approached her elegantly and spoke. Dia, please sit down, Princess Irulan Ramahandran said. Dia felt perplexed, but she saw no other option than doing as the princess commanded, so she kneeled obediently towards the monarch. Princess Irulan spoke. Dia, I know how much serving this golden duck means to you, but I cannot accept it. Is there anything wrong, Your Highness? Dia asked. Yes, you poisoned Admiral Nick Telugu with a radioactive apple. Under such circumstances, it would not be prudent for me to ingest food that you cook, Princess Irulan replied. Dia looked around the room in terror. If the princess knew about how she poisoned Nick Telugu, she would be executed for treason. Yet, why wasn't she already locked up, and why were there no guards around? I don't understand, my princess. What would you like me to do? Dia pleaded. I want you to eat the golden duck you prepared for me. I'll proclaim that your dish was delicious, Princess Irulan replied. Why do you ask me to do this? Dia asked. Why would you want to know? Would you rather be executed for treason? Princess Irulan reprimanded. No, please forgive me, Your Highness, Dia pleaded. Don't worry, Dia. You have in fact saved the Malaysian Empire. After you murdered Admiral Nik Teugu, we found out that he conspired to bring down the royal family. Your actions saved my family. You are a hero. This is why I'm helping you, Princess Irulan revealed. Thank you, Princess Irulan, Dia said. Enjoy your golden duck dinner. You deserve it, Princess Irulan said kindly and left the room. Dia nodded and started ravenously eating the roasted gold-dipped flesh of Trumpy the Grumpy Duck. As she enjoyed his fatty flesh, she concluded that Trumpy the Grumpy Duck was truly the greatest duck to ever live. At least, he was the best tasting duck she had ever had. The fruit of your own hard labor is truly the sweetest. The end.